after a little pain. If you own the rainbow, you must have the rain. What if your love affair should break up, as they sometimes will, when you kiss and make up? Oh boy, what a thrill. Sadness ends in gladness. Showers are not in vain. If you own the rainbow, you must have the rain.
If you want the rainbow, you must have the rain. How many of you seen rainbows a lot around here? We have a lot of them, don't we? Probably the only place I've seen more is when I was in Hawaii, because they're all the time there, aren't they? So if we want the rainbow, we must have the rain. Is that true? We heard the saying, well, I see the people do, but is it really true? What's that saying, no pain, no gain? Do you buy into that one too? Do you buy into that one too? Because what happens if we buy into this? What are we going to get? The same thing, right? And then there's, if I'm not afraid of anything, if I don't have any fear, there must be something wrong with me. You know, people like that just don't seem to be afraid of anything. You go, what's wrong with you? You know, we try to change them, teach them what to be afraid of. One thing that really gets me is when I'm leaving in a car, I'm going to fly in a plane, and someone says, be safe. Don't say that to me. Say, have fun. And do that with people from now on. Affirm that they're going to have a good time. Don't affirm they've got something to worry about, because you know what? If there's worry, there's fear under that. When I'm stressed, when I'm worried, there's fear there. I love the beach in the morning. I love to get there when it's dark. And because it's so quiet, it's so still. And I got there the other morning, and other than me, there was a lone fisherman, and I could barely see his silhouette, and the tide was out. And I could just feel the magic and the stillness, and I could walk. And I took some great pictures, and I put them on Facebook. And when I got home, my son-in-law, John, said, wow, you were at the beach early. Those pictures are great, but weren't you afraid to be there alone in the dark? If I were afraid to be there, I would have missed one of the most incredible sunrises ever. What do we miss in life? What do we allow fear to keep us from enjoying? Today's talk is facing our fears. So there's a list of fears. If you go online, there's fear of flying, fear of heights, fear of open spaces, fear of closed spaces, fear of spiders, fear of snakes, fear of insects, fear of bees, fear of dentists, doctors, needles. Who's got one of those? Fear of dogs, fear of people. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear that someone might laugh at me, fear of sickness, fear of death. And it goes on and on and on. President Roosevelt said, the only thing to fear is fear itself. You've heard that. What does it mean? The only thing to fear is fear itself. If I'm afraid, that's the fear right there. It's the fear of the fear. There's a book called The Untethered Soul. We did a series on it. Reverend Therese did a series on it a couple years ago. And it talks about a man who had a thorn in his arm, and that thorn was pressing against a nerve. So even if it got brushed in the slightest way, shooting pain would go through his whole body. So he started figuring out ways to protect his arm from that pain, from that thorn being hit. So when he went to bed, he could only sleep on one side, and he rigged something up so he wouldn't roll over onto the side where the arm was. And when he went out to work or play or whatever he was doing, he had to put something on his arm so no one would brush up against it, so no one would touch it. He built his entire life around protecting that thorn from getting hit. He built his entire life around protecting himself from pain. Do I do that? Because does it free me? Did it free him to do all that? Wouldn't it have been easier and a lot less complicated to just pull that thorn out? That's our fear, guys. That's our fear. It's that simple. We can just pull that thorn out. We define our life, we define our reality by what we believe. Fear does not exist anywhere except in my mind. Fear does not exist anywhere except in my mind. Does that make sense? Do you get it? Do you hear that? I get out of life what I tolerate. I just came back from a week-long ministers' retreat. That was one of the things we talked about, that I only allow in my life as much as I tolerate. And that has to do with self-worth. So the stronger my self-worth becomes, the less I tolerate. A minister friend of mine just entered a new relationship, and the man she's with is ex-military, ex-business, very strong, and she was doing a presentation with us, and she was fixing the projector. She's been a minister many, many, many years. She's done this many, many times. And all of a sudden, he's up there showing her how to do it. And he was saying things to her that she didn't like, and she was able to because she didn't tolerate it, because her self-worth is so strong. And she went, no one talks to me like that. No one talks to me. What do you tolerate? Notice that. I'll tolerate as much as I feel about what I'm worth. So we work on our self-worth. We get out of life what we tolerate. So do you tolerate the thorn? What fears do you tolerate? Because you're never going to be free of them. And if you settle for that thorn, for that fear, you're going to miss some incredible sunrises. In James 1:2, Scripture reads, listen to this. Consider it all joy when you encounter various trials. Consider it all joy. Joy and happiness are not something we have to struggle or strive for. We don't have to endure or fear. We just have to enjoy and savor. Can you feel that? Can you hear that? The belief that I have to have pain in order to gain something. Get rid of that belief. We have a video for you. Are you ready? I love this video, and we're going to shut the lights down. Thank you.
You take a drink with your friends, and somebody says, yeah, we should go skydiving tomorrow. And you go, yeah, we'll go skydiving tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. And you go, yeah. And everybody goes, yeah. So then that night you're laying in your bed and you just keep, and you're terrified. You keep imagining over and over again jumping out of an airplane, and you can't figure out why you would do that. You wake up the next day and you go, down, and you said where you were going to meet, and everybody's there. So you get in the van and you're like, oh my God. And your stomach is terrible. You can't eat and everything, but you don't want to be the only punk who doesn't jump out of this airplane. So you fly and you go up to 14,000 feet, and somebody opens the door, and in that moment you realize you've never been in a freaking airplane with the door open, and you're looking out down to death. And they say, on 3. And they say, 1, 2, and he pushes you on 2 because people grab on 3. And you go, and you fall out of the airplane, and in 1 second, you realize that it's the most blissful experience of your life. You're flying. There's zero fear. You realize that the point of maximum danger is the point of minimum fear. It's bliss. Why were you scared in your bed the night before? What do you need that fear for? everything up to the stepping out, there's actually no reason to be scared. It only just ruins your day. The best things in life on the other side of terror, on the other side of your maximum fear, are all of the best things in life.
So what's keeping you from jumping out of an airplane? Who wants to go with me? All right, yeah. So the most blissful experiences in life are when I'm not afraid to jump. And think about it, when something's going to happen that you're afraid of. You don't sleep at night, right? You worry about it for, days, weeks? And yet, until you step in that door of that airplane and stand there, I'd probably be real scared at that moment. But why be afraid a day, a week before? Why waste all that time? Everything up to stepping out of the plane. He said there was no reason to be afraid. Do you get that? There's no reason. The best things in life, everything I want is on the other side of fear. What does your fear keep you from doing? And how do we get to the other side of fear? So this cute story I found, it's about a young buffalo. His name was Walter. And he asked his dad if there was anything he should be afraid of. And Dad said, only lions. Walter said, oh, yes, I've heard about lions. If I see a lion, I am going to turn and run away as fast as I can. And Dad said, oh, no, that's the worst thing you can do. And Walter says, but they're scary and they're going to try to kill me. And Dad said, if you run, that lion is going to catch you. And Walter says, well, what should I do? And Dad said, stand your ground. Don't be afraid. And if the lion doesn't move, then shake your sharp horns and stomp your big feet. And if that doesn't work, move slowly towards him. And if that doesn't work, charge him with everything you've got. And little Walter goes, I'll be too scared. What if he attacks me? And Dad says, look around. What do you see? So Walter turned and he looked behind him, and he saw a herd of 200 massive beasts with huge horns and great hoofs. Dad said, we're here. If you panic and run, we can't help you. But if you charge, we're right behind you. How do we get to the other side of fear? How do we realize the power that's behind us? Isaiah 41:10 says, fear not, for I am with you. If I run from my fears, I am going to be in battle with them forever. Experience that? But if I face my fear, I'll be free forever. We all have lions. We all have those scary things in life that make us want to run. And if we run, they just keep chasing us, don't they? One fear after another. And fear takes over my life. How do I get to the other side of fear? I trust. I trust in a power that is so much bigger and so much greater than me. When my thoughts are dominated by fear, think about it. When you're full of fear, I become more cautious. I feel small, insignificant. I may feel bitter. I may be resentful. I definitely feel unworthy. And I doubt myself and I doubt everyone around me. and I miss out on this incredible life that we're getting. Fear is a dark room where negatives are developed. Fear is a dark room where negatives are developed. Negative thoughts that take over my life. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "You gain strength, courage, confidence by every experience in which you stop to look fear in the face." You're able to say to yourself, I have lived through this. I can take the next thing that comes along. Take a moment and think about all the fears that you faced, that you made it through. And the next time one comes up, stop and remember that. We don't have to keep moving from one problem, from one fear to another. So drop your drama, because that's what it is. It's a story you're making up. Drop that drama. You know, we love to, and I don't want to generalize that, some people love to let you know all the terrible things that are going on in their life. All the fears that are going on in their life. And what happens if I stand there and listen to that? My energy starts to buy into it, doesn't it? And then I start thinking, wow, maybe I've got something to be afraid of. I've had so many times, I remember when I lived in Santa Barbara, and I had been out, and it was late, and I decided it was time to go home, and I didn't have a ride, and at 3 a.m. in the morning, I'm walking down the streets of Santa Barbara, and my girlfriend says, "What's wrong with you? Are you crazy?" But there was no fear. I've had so many experiences like that. When there's no fear, I am always safe. Just like the Father told that young buffalo to face our fears with courage, with boldness, to show them we're not afraid. Fear not, for I am with you. There was a TV series with Roma Donnie, the angel one. What was that one? Touched by an Angel. And didn't she say that all the time in there? Didn't they use that? Fear not. I remember her saying that a lot. Fear not, for I am with you. To get to the other side of fear, I have to trust God's Spirit, that power that can be there at all times. I have to trust that I've got this huge herd of 200 beasts behind me. You know, use that the next time you're afraid. I hear a lot of fear in a lot of people around our country, around the world right now. And it's because most people just are in fear that they don't know what's going to happen, right? Things are changing. They don't look the same. So what's going to happen to our country? Remember, this country has been divided. We've had the American Revolution. We've had the Civil War. And over the past 4,000 years, there have been so many empires that have risen and fallen. Great ones, just a few. The Persian Empire was in 550 BCE. The Roman Empire, 27 BC to 393. The Arab Empire, 632 to 1258. The Mongol Empire, 1206 to 1368. The British Empire, 1583 to 1783. Huge empires. You can't be an empire forever. The world keeps changing. And each one of those empires, and there's so many more, but each one of them brought something to the world that we still have a part of. Something good came from them, and then they were done. Then it was time to move on to the next. The world keeps changing. So I invite you to move out of that fear and trust, knowing there's a higher power, knowing there's a divine order taking place here. That fear of the unknown lies underneath every single fear you have, right? I don't know what it's going to be like to jump out of an airplane, so I'm going to be scared. I don't know what the dentist is going to do to me, so I'm really going to be scared. It's all the unknown. So this man was brought before the king because he'd committed a crime. And the king said to him, I'm giving you two choices. You can hang by the rope, or you can take what's behind this big, dark, iron, scary door. Guy says, oh, I'm taking that rope. So as they slid the noose over him, the man looks at the king and goes, so what's behind that big, scary door? The king goes, you know, it's interesting. I give everyone that choice. And just about every person takes the rope. And the man goes, yeah, but what's behind the scary door? And the king smiled and said, freedom. Freedom is behind your big, scary door. Under every fear is fear of the unknown. So what are you afraid of? Close your eyes for a minute. Be very honest with yourself. Just sit there without judgment and just look at your fears. Just make a list of them as though you're observing it, as though they're just scrolling down in front of you. What's keeping me from fully enjoying my life? What's keeping me from missing the incredible things all around me? The beauty, the joy, the love, the kindness. What fear is stopping me? Take a breath. When you're ready, open your eyes. 2 weeks ago, I was at a different retreat. It was only for ministers. And it ended with us doing a fire walk. And I watched as the days, we were there like 3 days, as the days grew, I watched people becoming more and more nervous about doing this fire walk. And we spent about 2 hours processing before the walk where we had to write down all our fears. And then as we left the room, we started a chant. There were about 50 of us. We walked down this big hill. There was this big field, and the fire was burning, and we threw our papers. We released our fears into the fire. The chant we were given as we started at the retreat center was release your mind, look what you find, bring it back home to your people. He said, what am I supposed to bring to my church? What's the message? And so you walked a big circle around this fire until you were moved. You would actually feel it move to go up there. And standing there, all of a sudden I realized there was absolutely no fear to walk this fire. In fact, they held me back until the path was clear. And so I walked it with intention, but I forgot to look about what I was supposed to find to bring back to you guys. I went, I got to do that again. And so I got in line, I did the chant again until it moved again, and it put me in front of it again. And I walked again, and again, I forgot what I was supposed to find for you. I was like, I got to do it again. And so I joined the circle and did the chant and walked a third time. And I still forgot. Because the intention, they tell you, don't look at your feet. When you're done, don't look at your feet. Because people that look at their feet usually burn. Why? Why? The belief, right? If I'm looking at my feet, I'm believing that I'm going to get burned. So do I trust? Even in that, do I trust? I didn't look at my feet. I got a massage when I came home when she's working on my feet. I said, So tell me, is there anything there? She goes, nothing. Belief. What I believe. If I believe I'm going to be afraid, if I believe there's something to fear, then the universe is going to give me exactly what I believe. After we were asked, excuse me, one of the things we were told before we walked is if you believe no pain, no gain, you will get burned. So you see that other belief? So in life, if I believe no pain, no gain, I'm going to get pain, guys. So when we finished, we wrote these cards out. I walked on fire. I can do anything I choose. I invite you, whatever fear is going on in your life, to face it, to stand there, to walk through it, to walk over it. And then write yourself a card. I face this fear. I can do anything I choose. How would you live? How would your life change if you released all your fears? There's a power with us, behind us, in us that is so much bigger than any fear. And I'm yelling so much, I'm losing my voice. May I have my water, please? Thank you. Hang on. So, to build your army, to build your 200 buffalo behind you, spend more time with prayer. Spend more time with meditation. We offer 20 minutes of silent meditation every Sunday before church. Well, I see more and more of you coming. That's powerful. It's the most powerful thing you can do for yourself, for your family, for your friends, for your country, for the world, and for this church. The power of meditation. More prayer, more meditation, more time in nature, more classes that we offer here. We've got a class after service today. Be there. And more time with like-minded people. More time with people that are doing the same spiritual work you're doing. More time with people that want to find the positive things in life, that aren't looking for the fears. Today, start today. And from now on, face your fears and you choose the door to freedom. God bless you.